Hey folks, this is BestInSlot, and tonight we're going to do our final tour of our Cryptid Park. This has been a long-standing series now where we've built a Jurassic Park tour of various different dinosaur exhibits, but each of those exhibits and the dinosaurs themselves are built to resemble a cryptid from around the globe. Many bizarre creatures have been spoken about in this playthrough, and all the habitats are designed to resemble where those cryptids would live. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on a whole tour. It's going to be fairly chill. This is a, as you might be able to tell, a fairly massive tour. So I'm probably going to splice it together a little bit. But as we go through, I'm going to do a little recap of what each cryptid means, what each cryptid is about, what makes them special. And yeah, you guys will get to see some cryptids. So let's get going. Okay, here we go. So we can... Oh, where's my car gone? Is this the right one? I have no idea. This is the right one. There we go. Yeah, we just left. So our very first habitat. Of course, we're going to have to keep an eye out for our dinosaurs, see if we can spot any. We're looking for the Mokele-Mbembe. Now, this is a cryptid hailing from Africa, very specifically from the Congo River Basin. You can just about spot it over there in the distance, in the tree line. Of course, we'll go through and have a little quick look at the end as well. But this is based on the Nigersaurus. Is that a rock or a dinosaur? I think it's a dinosaur. It's over there somewhere. The other exhibits are slightly easier to make out. But you never know, we might spot one on the way. Anyways, the Congo River Basin, Mokele-Mbembe, and it was said to basically be a living sauropod. And just like another creature we're going to see on our list later on, it actually has a strange creationist angle to it, in that people who believe in the young Earth theory, that the Earth has not been around for a very long time, want the Mokele-Mbembe to be real, and for this sauropod to have somehow existed through time, because that would prove that, well, the Earth can't be millions of years old, right? He is the proof. He is a living dinosaur. It's only had to survive a few thousand years. Now as we move into our second habitat, our first modded dinosaur, it's a Therizinosaurus. It's a fantastic mod. This is the Mappinguary. This is a much more aggressive creature living in the Amazonian rainforest. Bizarrely, although not in our version obviously, it has a gaping mouth on its abdomen. It literally has a mouth on its stomach around where the navel would be. It's very tall, hairy, it's got long claws, rumoured to look somewhat like a giant ground sloth, which obviously makes it pretty cool. Well, I still haven't spotted a Mappinguary, but the weather has just shifted. It's now pouring down with rain, very appropriate for our location deep in the Amazonian rainforest. You can see how the track curves along the river. It's also raining in the... Do we not have a roof on the vehicle? I think we do. Why are you soaked, son? Anyways, very... Oh, yes, they're right in front of us on the tracks. Brought out by the rain, of course. Maybe. Actually, if we go into photo mode, can I zoom in? There we go! So you can see those long claws, that upright body. All that's missing is the terrifying gaping maw upon the stomach. Still looks far rather horrifying in this situation, doesn't it? We should see it again as we go past. Mappinguary, where are you? There it is.
Like other members of the sauropod family, the Apatosaurus's head is tough.
And as you may have gathered from that, it is indeed based on the Apatosaurus. Well, the mod is an Apatosaurus mod originally. You are bloody soaked, mate. Absolutely bloody soaked. The next one is the Beast of Bray Road. Now this is sometimes called a werewolf, originating in Wisconsin in the Americas. Now, I say sometimes called a werewolf because, funnily enough, cryptozoologists, people who research and look into cryptids, don't want it to be called a werewolf, because a werewolf is mystical and made up and fantasy, so they instead call it a Bigfoot. They think it's more realistic for this to be a bizarre human-wolf hybrid creature living out there in the wilderness than an actual werewolf. So they don't want it to be called a werewolf, which I think is fairly interesting. Now, I actually tried to recreate Bray Road itself. You'll see as we approach around this bend in the future, there'll be a very straight road. And as you can see, we have moved on to the concrete on the ground. In night vision. And that's because the Bray Road is a proper road. It's an actual road. And people have reported, going past in their cars and they see beasts crossing over in front of the headlights. Or people have gone missing.
Dinosaurs are shy and prefer the cover offered by the forest, so may not be visible, but they can see, hear, and smell you.
There you go, folks. We might not be able to see our werewolf. It's not a werewolf. But our werewolf, not a werewolf, can see us. I'm sure it'll make an appearance sometime soon, though. Cough. Now, the going theory as to what the Beast of Bray Road actually is probably a black bear, a very common carnivore in the area, but one afflicted by mange. Mange, that's how you pronounce it right. That's something we're going to see a lot in this playthrough, in this tour. Mange. It's just quite a big thing. It basically is like a disease that rips away the skin and stuff like that, and it creates quite a horrific appearance. So here we are on the actual road. There's our road sign, of course. And then here's the lampposts, question mark, sort of. As we head down the main road. Let's keep our eyes peeled, which is a disgusting term, I think you'll all agree. And see if we can spot the beast. Nothing yet. There's its feeding area. We leave some meat out to attract our cryptids, for obvious reasons. I can hear it. I swear I just heard it. I swear I just heard it. Now you'll see the woodland here is all predominantly redwoods and stuff like that. Every now and again we put in... Oh, there. On the right. Oh, it just dipped below the... We did spot it, but it just dipped below the hills. I'm going to resist going through the individual creatures just because I think it'll ruin the real tour effect. But it is essentially an Indoraptor, to be honest, guys. So, is that George? Moving on to number 4, you'll see the forest is cleared for the first time. Our first 3 habitats were all very dense in woodland. We're heading up to the northwest of the US and South Canada for the Wendigo. Now, we could talk a lot about the Wendigo. If you're interested in Algonquin culture, one of the First Nations people who lived around there, then I recommend you go back and check the video because I did go into quite a lot of detail. But the Wendigo is an interesting creature, one that has many different forms. Originally it was an evil spirit that would warn Algonquin people against excess and against greed and unpreparedness. It was about preparing for the winter, and it was about sharing what you have with other people. And it was kind of a spirit, and it had this... Let me try to remember. It resembled a man, often tall. Every time it consumed someone, it would grow even bigger, and its bloodlust would grow even bigger. And it ended up towering over towns. This massive, hairless, pale, just bare, spooky, skin-looking creature with big mouth and huge teeth. And then, as the West, or I guess as the Brits and the Spanish and everyone came over to the US and started to take over and claim these people's lands, the Wendigo became very associated with the Algonquin people themselves. And as they were trying to portray the Algonquin people as savages, like they did with all indigenous populations essentially, the Wendigo became this cannibalistic, bloodthirsty beast more than this evil warning spirit. And it grew the antlers and stuff like that. You know how you picture a Wendigo, you might see it as like a half deer mutated creature kind of thing? Well, that's not really anything like it was originally in the original folklore tales. And when that was happening, when it was being sort of transformed by, English and the Spanish and everyone else who was coming over and made into this creature representative of how they perceived Algonquin culture, the Algonquins also changed the Wendigo a little bit. It instead became reminiscent of extreme greed, more so than it ever had in the past, and it actually resembled the Spanish and the English and the new Americans trying to take the land and basically all of that. It came to resemble those people. And you were able to be possessed by a Wendigo's spirit if you exhibited excess greed. And it's essentially a tale to... Yes, our land is being taken and we're being treated awfully by these invaders, essentially, but, we will not be like them. They are these people and they've been taken by the Wendigo, and one of the reasons they did that in the first place is because they needed to find a way to justify this abhorrent behaviour they were being subjected to by other people. Because it didn't make sense to them. They hadn't done anything wrong, essentially. They were being taken over. And there is our Wendigo. Now, I will admit... Oh, you're a big boy. Yo, calm down. Hello. Now, this wasn't actually the original mod we used for the Wendigo, but we decided to stick with it anyway because it's really cool. And I tell you what, it's pretty bloody terrifying. You really see it in the, that car needs to be careful. You really get a sense of the scale of the thing. And that's what I mean. Oh, it's gone to sleep, never mind. The Wendigo could grow to massive sizes. Back to daytime now, we're back down in the hills. We're actually travelling up to Scotland for our first European cryptid. And I'm only going to say this once. This is the Loch monster. You know how you know the Loch Ness monster? Well, Loch is actually pronounced Loch. And the Loch monster is essentially the lesser known version of the Loch Ness monster. I'm just going to say it like that for the rest of this video. It lives in the same areas. It behaves in very similar ways. Basically, Loch is a very small... You can just about make it out there on the left. There it is, floating along. It's a Mosasaurus mod. It's really cool, but it does float like a magical worm. We'll be going down past the... Hopefully we'll get a better glimpse of it in a minute. I'll show you at the end. But basically, Loch is a small waterway that connects Loch Ness and another waterway I've forgotten the name of. And it is actually one of the first cryptids on our list that has an official kill count. Well, not official, but it has been said that it drowned a child. It's this large... If you imagine Loch Ness, like Nessie itself, sort of sauropod, plesiosaur-looking creature, but more shaggy and with like dog-esque head and black fur and stuff like that. And some child clambered upon this creature when he saw it at the edge of the loch. And then unfortunately the creature decided to dip, take a sip and went under the water and drowned the child. Now next up we're heading to Australia, mate. So bad. For the Bunyip. Now the Bunyip is a bizarre creature. It was once widely feared by the natives, the indigenous population in Australia. It's this large... Again, hippo dog-esque creature. That's a very common combination you'll see with cryptids, where a creature has the head of a dog. And it says a lot of cryptids are actually dogs, cough. But it was a ferocious beast. If you go Google Bunyip right now, you will see this image of the Bunyip with this woman between its jaws, ripping her out of the air in brutal manner. It's pretty intimidating. There it is over there. And so I wanted to honour the Bunyip's original aggressive nature. It's low to the ground, it's sleek, it's got this dog-esque face, as you'll be able to see over there on our... I actually can't remember what mod this is, but it is a modded Majungasaurus, so remember that much. We're going to curl a little bit further around, we might get another look somewhere around there. But the Bunyip over time has been softened. It's now... There it is. Kind of a glimpse. Again, if you want to see any of these in immense detail, any of these creatures, any of these mods, do just go check out my playlist. You know, it's all linked in the playlist, link down below in the description. You'll be able to see every single mod that we've used, every single build, all that kind of jazz. I really want to keep the original tour feeling intact, you know? Anyways, the Bunyip... I wanted to honour its original spookiness, because now it isn't spooky anymore. If you Google Bunyip and mascot and stuff like that, you'll see lots of pictures of this wise gremlin-looking creature that is said to, you know, be friendly and welcome people to Australia and stuff like that. And that's a far cry from what the Bunyip used to resemble. No mistaking the intentions of our next creature, though. We're heading back to the North Americas, actually more like Central America-ish. We're heading to Mexico, let's put it that way. As you can see by the fact we're by a little town, this is the black demon shark, found in northwestern Mexico in the Bay of California, which is not in California, it's in Mexico. Where are we going here? Curling round. The black demon shark is essentially a gigantic shark, said to be about 50 feet in size. It's a story told by fishermen who fish on those waters, and has been told through generations and generations, like most cryptids we've seen today. It's a story that just is passed down through time. Now, it's essentially, if you imagine a great white shark, stretch it out to 50 feet long. This is a humongous creature, and make it black instead of white or grey. You've got the black demon shark. It's a big black shark, essentially. It's very, very cool. It has a couple of differentiating factors. It has a very, very tall, the tail fin at the back. That's said to be extra long and pointed. Some reports of the shark have it as fully black. Some reports have it, if you imagine a great white, sort of grey on top and white on the bottom. Some have it as black on the top and white on the bottom. So there are differentiations there. A lot of people think it's a megalodon. It's about the exact same size for a megalodon, but you'd also have to believe megalodons are still alive. And there it is, over there. Now, unfortunately, it's a little bit of a distance away, but you... Oh my... What is this angle? Right, we're curling to the left, we're curling. You should be able to tell, hopefully. There it is. That it is actually, the mod itself is a T-Rex shark hybrid. It's very, very cool. One of my favourites. Big, big fan of that mod. Let me just... Yeah, there it is. Goddamn edge of the car. The whole thing's tilted. The idea was to help and take photos and see things. There it is. So imagine it's just swimming along. Doesn't have legs. It's a shark. It's a giant shark. Very, very cool. Hello, buddy. Thank you for showing yourself. You're welcome. That's what they sound like. Fun little tidbit about that as we move on to the next section. There is a photo doing the rounds online where someone basically did a scan on Google Maps of the area, and they found what looks to be... Don't look at the left. They found what looks to be a underwater lab base. So one of the theories, and I don't know what it is, I will be honest, it does look like a lab. One of the theories for the Black Demon Shark is that... I don't know how many of you have seen Deep Blue Sea, but it's a film from the late 90s where they're experimenting on sharks to make them super intelligent so they can cure Alzheimer's. That is literally the plot of the film. And then the sharks break out and eat everyone. Some people have suggested that's what's going on. That is the origination of the Black Demon Shark. Very interesting. Anyways, next up on the list we have the Beast of the Cascades. A bipedal, furry, dark creature that feasts upon travellers, feasts upon hikers, feasts upon mountain climbers in the Cascades. And the Cascades are these three mountains called the Three Sisters, the North Sister, the Middle Sister, and the South Sister. I can't quite remember their names. It's like Faith, Hope, something else. And the beast wanders around these campsites at night. You know, people are on their own or they're camping with just a couple of people, and they get picked off at night by this bipedal, monstrous, Bigfoot-esque but more ferocious, more lizardy in appearance, more animalistic in appearance, and it hunts them down and eats them, basically. And somewhere out there, we will have a lovely modded Walking with Dinosaurs Utah raptor to resemble the beast, which is often said to be white with black spots in colour and has deep glowing red eyes. If you go back and check my video on the Beast of the Cascades, you'll hear an interview with a survivor who lost two friends to the beast. There it is, there it is. Now, unfortunately, I have since modded the game, but this is actually a pretty good one as well. So instead we have one of Digital Duck's feathered raptors, which looks brilliant and very appropriate. Get out of the way, George. You're not George. Stephen! Stephen. Well, you saw it. Or something. Oh, Stephen. Wait, you... Yeah. And you'll go back, and I basically gave you an entire transcript of an interview that was held with this man who had two of his friends killed by the Beast of the Cascades when he was mountain trekking through the Three Sisters. Now, I can confirm, because I haven't mentioned it since, and a couple of people have whispered me asking about this, but the Beast of the Cascades was indeed fake. I made it up for the video. Sorry. But basically, I wanted a scary cryptid for Halloween. I wanted something that would have a full story behind it, something I could read out, something that amped up the horror factor, and it was quite hard to find, so I made one up instead. I thought it'd be a fun thing to do. Lots of people believed it, which is cool, a lot of fun. The people who didn't believe it, they googled for the Beast of the Cascades, and they were unable to find an example, and that's why people kind of clocked on. Funnily enough, I didn't even make up the name. One of the sisters, I believe the South Sister, the hardest one to climb, is indeed called the Beast of the Cascades. But she's, you know, a mountain, basically, and not a bipedal monstrous creature. Anyways, if you want to check that one out, go check out the video for it. I think it was pretty entertaining. What you may have noticed on this tour, I realise I should talk about the tour design itself every now and again, is there are indeed 3 mountains. This is the North Mountain up here. If we look down, when we get to the bottom, hopefully we'll be able to see it. But the path basically curves between several little mountains made to resemble the 3 sisters. It's always hard to tell because the area is very shrouded in forest, as it would be in reality. But there's one over there. This whole area. Only a couple more creatures on the actual tour. We're heading back not to Mexico as a lot of people think, but actually Puerto Rico for one of the newest cryptids on the entire list. This is the Chupacabra. See if we can track ourselves up this hill. Now everyone knows the Chupacabra. It's definitely one of the most famous cryptids on the planet. It's the goat sucker. That's what the name means. And hey guys, I did you just wave you. Hello. Good luck with the beast. Good luck. Good luck. Oh, I'm actually curling back for the other exhibit. So, we're about to enter Mexico. As you can see, it's Breaking Bad Mexico, which means everything is yellow. The Chupacabra, the goat sucker, the small alien-esque creature. Now, it became more and more dog-like as the tale travelled up. I mean, it started in Puerto Rico, but there are tales about the Chupacabra even down in the south of the US. There it is. There it is over there. Get out of the way, Stephen. Stephen! Stephen, why? Maybe we'll see it come around the corner. Yes, there it is. So this is actually a Jurassic Park the game Troodon mod, because it's small, it's got black fur and feathering on the back, it's got big wide eyes, and it's pretty bloody vicious. A lot of things you would associate with the Chupacabra. There it goes again, darting across. We've got a few of them in here. On the left-hand side we have George running around in his pen, as you can see. The idea of being these are sheep pens, you know, goat pens. This is where they would look after their livestock, the woman who lives in this little hut. Over here, this is her farm, those are our animals, and the Chupacabra, of course, preys on them. Now, the interesting thing about the Chupacabra, as I say, it became more dog-like as the story travelled up to the south of the US, but originally, it was very alien-looking in nature. Big wide eyes, low humanoid to the ground body. That was a mishmash of a sentence there. Black spines down the back. They went back and talked to the woman who first saw the creature, who first launched the tale of the Chupacabra. And as it happens, she'd seen a film called Species in the cinema just 1 week earlier in 1995 when it came out. And in Species, there's a little alien. And the little alien, rather coincidentally, looks exactly like the Chupacabra. So the Chupacabra doesn't exist. The Chupacabra was likely, again, a dog with mange or something like that. But this woman saw this sci-fi horror film and was obviously freaked out, or it was just in the back of her head. So when she sees this small dark creature attack her livestock or darting away into the forest, she immediately associates the two together. Cryptids are fascinating. How cryptids arrive and how the stories are created is always really interesting. I don't really personally believe in, honestly, any of the cryptids we've looked at today, but they're always fascinating to learn about. And it's nice, like a tour around the world, you know? So for this one, we're back in the Amazon. Lots of cryptids in the Amazon. This is the Capelobo. This is a humanoid creature with hooves, stands up bipedally, 2 legs, very hairy. And it has the head of an anteater, slash tapir, slash whatever you want it to be. But anteater, tapir, you know, like a long snout and stuff like that. Its name means wolf's cape, and it is a brutal creature, said to kill kittens, puppies, and indeed, babies. Like a lot of Amazonian cryptids, and like a lot of African cryptids in particular, the Capelobo is a tale of warning to stay out of dangerous areas, to not go out at night, stuff like that. The Capelobo hunts at night. I think I can see it over there. There it is. This is actually a really cool Dino Kairos mod made by Sweetener. Again, go check out the video in the playlist if you want to get that mod for yourselves. Gonna pop that booty up. No, you're eating, aren't you? My Capelobo is unfortunately a vegetarian. I just want you to lift your head, buddy. Come on. Yes, Nilly. What are you doing? Just like a hairy mountain. Oh, it's behind the tree line. It's in there somewhere. So that's why we're in the Amazon. It's, you know, waterways and stuff. There it is, there it is, there it is. Hey, very cool. It's our Capelobo, large, humped-back, I often said. It's got that long snout as well that you'd associate with the Dino-Kyrus. Stephen, I swear to God. There's our Capelobo. Capelobo is actually often associated with the Mappinguary. For a lot of cryptozoologists, the two are one and the same. They're bipedal, they're hairy, they're ferocious attackers. Mappinguary has, you know, the mouth on its stomach, and the Capelobo has a long snout, but yeah, there's a lot of crossover, and these tails do travel and change and meld over time. Now, we're actually back here in the Congo River Basin, where the Mokele-Mbembe resides, but that is the end of the tour. Not quite the end of everything, however, because if we hop over here, we have one more to take a look at. So let's go with Pteranodon camera. There it is. This right here is actually our feathered Pteranodon again from Duck's mod, but this is also what's called a Ropen, otherwise known as the Demon Flyer. Now, hailing from Papua New Guinea, this is a flying creature, essentially. It's meant to be a living pterosaur. It's very loud. It's meant to be a living pterosaur. Now, I mentioned the creationist angle of the Mokele-Mbembe. It was even stronger with the Ropen. Creationists were desperate for the Ropen to be a real thing, to be a flying, real pterosaur that survived in Papua New Guinea, because that would mean the Earth was only a few thousand years old. All of the evidence, and there's a couple of photos and stuff like that, and a lot of the reports of the Ropen come from Christian missionaries who went down to Papua New Guinea, creationists, to hopefully track down this creature and therefore prove their theory about the young Earth. Because there's bonkers, yo. And that's our Ropen. Now, the Ropen is a little interesting. It does smell like sulphur, even if every cryptid on this bloody list does. One of the more interesting things about the Ropen, if you research it, is the stomach. This little furry area over here is actually meant to glow at night, and that's where the Ropen myth started to originate, was glimpses of lights in the night sky. And then some Christian missionaries actually saw the creature, saying it had this huge wingspan, it looked like a pterosaur, and it kind of went off from there. And that's it, folks. That is our park. I'll show you it from above. So there's our Mexican Chupacabra habitat. Here is our black demon shark. I'll show you that a little bit closer. There it is at the edge. I've put down an invisible barrier around the edge of the water. The idea being that the demon shark doesn't leave the water. It still does, but it should spend most of its time in the water. Those are the three mountains for the Cascades. Over here on the right, we have hiccups. We have the Loch and our hiccups, and our Mosa hiccup, and our Mosa. God damn it, and our Mosasaurus. Seriously. Seriously. Why now? Anyways, further to the north, back in the hills, kind of like more open area, colder. It's trying to make it feel colder with the redwoods and the dirt on the ground, is where the Wendigo would have stalked. We got a really good look at the Wendigo already. Further to the west, you can see there is Bray Road right here. Long stretch of concrete road. Most of the track tour, as you can see, isn't in concrete, but Bray Road itself is. And that's because, of course, the beast is there somewhere. We didn't get a good look at the beast, but it really is just an Indoraptor having a little snooze on the road. Because it's, you know, it's black, it's vicious in its attacks, it's got long claws, it slinks along the ground, much like a werewolf attacking might do. Over here we have the... Where are you, buddy? Oh yeah, these are our Mappinguaries. Tall, hairy, brutally long claws. Just a really cool Therizinosaurus mod right there. And they, of course, live in the Amazon rainforest, so it's just a lot of water, a lot of trees, essentially. That's our Congo River Basin, as mentioned, for the Mokele-Mbembe, which is just a Nigersaurus, one of the few unmodded dinosaurs in this entire playlist, if not the only one. What are you? This is our Capelobo. Really cool Dino-Kyrus mod, as you can see. Very sexy. And am I missing anything? Yes, my invented cryptid. The Beast of the Cascades. There it is. It should have red eyes, and it did originally, but God knows, this series has been going on for a billion bloody years, so... Alright, there's the park. And oh no, I forgot the Bunyip. The Bunyip. And there's the Bunyip there. Zoom in. as I said, I was really going for the more brutal interpretation of the Bunyip. And if you look at the face of this creature here, which is like a Destosuchus or something, I can't quite remember, it looks remarkably similar to the more scary interpretations of the Bunyip you'll find if you Google for the beast. And there it is, living in the waterways, very damp environment as you would expect for a creature that does predominantly live in the water. And that's it, folks. This build has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed researching the cryptids, finding out so much about so many of them. I mean, before this series, the only 3 I'd heard of would be the Chupacabra. No, 4. I'd heard of the Ropen, the Chupacabra, the Bunyip, and the Wendigo, but the and Mokele-Mbembe, I should say. But the Mappinguary, the Beast of Bray Road, the Loch, the Black Demon Shark, the Beast of the Cascades, and the Capelobo were all new information to me. Don't really believe any of this is real, but it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of joy to be found in cryptids, in my opinion. This is their little Papua New Guinea farm. Look at it! Oh, little Georges. These should be goats, but George is more fun. So, if you haven't seen George before, anyone watching this, I'm just going to show you... Oh my god. I'm just going to show you George super quickly, because I think everyone needs to witness George's beauty up front. There you go. There's George. George's going to sit there for the rest of the video. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. For everyone who enjoyed this playthrough, I would love to still do more work on cryptids. I've got a couple of ideas I've been bandying about over the last couple of months once we've been working on this. Well, 4 months we've been working on this series. I'm not sure what that's going to look like quite yet, but I'd like to continue to research cryptids, to write about cryptids, do stories about cryptids, real and otherwise. Real inverted commas. And I'm really excited to kind of pursue that. It's a good direction, and I think it's fascinating. I really do. Not so much the creatures themselves, because they're nonsense, but the way these stories spread, the way the stories come about and stuff like that is genuinely really interesting. I hope you guys have had fun. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I will see you lovely folks in the next video. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much love as always. Say bye to George. Bye bye. Cheers much love as always. Bye bye.